Hi everybody, and welcome to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. On this video, you'll find stories from entitled people, cheating stories, and today I effed up. So if you want to get started with the stories, then just use the timestamps below the video. Now I would like to thank all of you that support me, either as Twitch subscribers, YouTube members, or even donating during the live streams. Thanks so much for your support. And if this is the first time watching one of my videos and you like it, then consider subscribing to the channel and joining us on Discord. Now let's get started with today's stories. This post is from the subreddit entitled People, and it's from user Deleted. Despite the will, my Aunt Karen thinks my parents' property belongs to her. This happened almost 5 years ago, and I just got notice yesterday that my entitled Aunt Karen has just died, and I got a call from her husband asking me to attend the funeral next weekend, and I declined, as did my older brother, Mark, for purposes of this story. Karen was my mother's older sister, and she constantly interfered in my mother and her children's lives. She never liked my father and always tried to tell my mother that she made a mistake by marrying him. She didn't like the name my parents picked out for my older brother, and my great-grandmother died the day before I was born, and when Karen found out they were going to name me after her, Karen freaked out and said she wanted to name her potential future kid that so my mother couldn't use it. Then she tried to talk her out of it by saying it's too old-fashioned and kids would make fun of me, which they did, but for other reasons. She criticized both my brothers and my choice of friends, and even complained when I started playing softball because proper ladies didn't play sports, and if her daughter ever tried playing a sport, she would have her removed from the team. Spoiler, she never had children. The day after my 16th birthday, my parents drove on a business trip down to California. I live in Idaho. My dad said that when they got back, he would drive me to the DMV to get my license. He never did because on the drive to California, they hit a patch of ice, spun out, crashed, and died. I was a wreck for some time after that. I didn't even want to attend my high school graduation later because my parents wouldn't be there. Their will split everything evenly between my brother and I. At the funeral, my parents, who owned their own business, production manager Tim was talking to my brother, and my brother told him that in a couple of weeks he would step in and take over, and he was counting on Tim to run things smoothly until then and help him in taking it over and learning the ropes. I had no interest in the business other than it was a guaranteed summer job when I was growing up, so I stayed out of it and just collected profit checks until I sold my half to Mark, and he continues to run the business to this day. Mark told Tim that he should assure the employees there that their jobs were safe and that no major changes would be made. Then, one day, Aunt Karen showed up and began putting her stuff into my parents' office, and when Tim confronted her about this, she said his services were no longer needed and he was fired. Tim called Mark up, and Mark went down with the family attorney, some police, and the necessary paperwork and had her removed. Well, she said the place was now hers because it was her sister's, so she was now the owner. As long as I have known her, she has never had a steady job and has had 3 husbands, not counting the man who called me, never met him, and milked each one for as much as she could get until she divorced him. The next day, I was leaving for school. I walked, it was fairly close, about 10 minutes, and saw her car and a moving van parked outside. She said she was moving into her house and then said in a sickly sweet voice that for a reasonable rent, she would continue to allow me to stay there until I graduated high school. I went in and called my brother, and he again showed up with the family attorney, police, and all the paperwork, and had her removed from the property. I was at school, so didn't get to see what happened. But that night, Mark gave me a business card for a policeman who I assumed helped deal with all this, and told me that if I ever saw Aunt Karen on or near the property, to call that number and report her immediately. Don't even try to confront her or give her a warning, just call. I do know that the movers charged her to move her stuff into the van, drive across town, get turned away, and drive back across town and move her stuff back into her apartment, which she hadn't given notice yet. I got scared to the point that I didn't like letting our dog into the backyard when I was at school. I used to put her out in the yard to let her play in the fenced backyard while I was in school. For a while, I just put her in the locked and closed garage and then cleaned up her messes when I got home in the afternoon. Eventually, Karen moved to Colorado, where I assume she met and married the man who called me and said that she had died and he couldn't find anyone from her family to attend the funeral. I chose not to tell him about her, politely said, "Sorry for your loss, but I can't make it." From discussions with Mark, he basically told him the same thing. Outside of myself, Mark, and Mark's infant daughter, I don't think she has any living relatives. I still own the house. Mark gave me his half as part of the deal where I sold him my half of the business, but still sleep in my bedroom. I refuse to move into what was once my parents' bedroom, the master bedroom. Go to the local university, go Broncos, and still miss my parents and think about them every day. And even though I am 21 in less than 2 weeks, own a large home, have a lot of money in the bank, I would trade it all to have my parents back. But I don't care about how or why of Aunt Karen's death. Thank you for reading and sorry for the length. OP, I'm so sorry for your loss. I am absolutely sure it must have been incredibly painful and traumatic. And also, your aunt did not help at all trying to take over the business like that and then the house. What a crappy human being you had for an aunt. I'm so sorry for that too. What a waste of life. I mean, here's a person who has one life on this planet and just decides to use it to take advantage of other people or try to take advantage of other people. According to OP, living off of other people, like milking her husbands until she divorced them, never keeping a steady job, trying to take over her late sister's business and then the house, and telling OP that for a reasonable rent, she would allow her to stay there? Gross. Like I said, what a waste of a life. She didn't accomplish anything at all. Just was an overall crappy person and that was it. That's what she's going to be remembered for, if she's remembered at all. Have any of you ever had the misfortune of meeting somebody like this? 'Cause that's gotta suck. Anyways, let's not give this Karen a second thought and we move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Cheating Stories and it's from user VergiD. Cheated on and I'm disgusted. I am absolutely drained after this toxic relationship with what I found to be a complete narcissist. It's been almost a month since I found out my boyfriend, ex now, was cheating on me. We practically lived together. I had most of everything where he stayed, literally my second home. About 2 months ago, I was cleaning his room while he was at work. I thought it'd be nice for him to come home to a clean room, clean sheets, clean everything. I went to grab the trash can and there was a bulky box in there from a Valentine's Day gift I'd given him. And I decided to take it out to break it down for less bulk. As I opened the box, inside there was a pack of 3 condoms. My stomach dropped and I felt sick. At that point, I felt entitled to look through the trash and the bathroom trash and found no wrappers or anything. I went to check our drawer, where we keep the lube and condoms, all the same type, even the box in the trash, and found that the original ones we'd bought were still there, but of course they were mixed in with various different dates. Yes, I checked. As I kept looking in the room now, I saw one of our picture frames was turned. And that too made me feel even worse. Right after that, I texted him and told him I wasn't looking through his trash, but that I found that pack. And he sounded alarmed that I was asking him, and he said I was being too abrasive, that he wouldn't do something like that, and that if I really thought he hated me that much. I gave him the benefit of the doubt and believed him. I thought the best. Yes, we weren't using condoms often, but we would use them once in a great while. Granted, by that point, I wasn't comfortable anymore, and there was always that "what if I'm right?" question in my head. Then 2 weeks pass, and on a day off where we went out, I went to get some socks from the drawers. and found more condoms. But they were apart from the condom drawer, and I asked, "Why are these here?" He played stupid and I thought nothing of it. But by then, I had already kept count of all the original ones I'd found and continued about my day as if that didn't bother me. Because in depth, it didn't. I was truly waiting to confront him about this at a more appropriate time. I was definitely off the rest of the day because he'd asked me what was wrong as I continued to space out that day. My only answer was, nothing. The days seemed better and I finally met him where he was staying a day he was off late. And I went to the room, made myself comfortable, and I see that our frame and pictures that were on the top drawer are missing. I look inside my drawers and there they were. I left him in there because I was going to ask about those later. I checked the condom drawer and there was indeed one missing, still giving him some kind of benefit of the doubt. Maybe he has it in his wallet for car sex, or who knows what reasons at that point. He got home, sat on the bed with me. I was spaced out and wasn't excited to see him. He asked what I was looking at, and I said that I was looking at the fact that our picture frame was missing, and he quickly got up and went to take it out of the drawer with the excuse that he was cleaning that day. Of course, I knew it was BS. The following day, he made most of many purchases, which was also more of a red flag at this point. He even gave me his wallet, and I didn't feel a condom in there. Then, later that night, after relaxing from having dinner, we got into yet another argument out of what had been almost every week for the last few months now. The arguments weren't of significant things, stupid things really. Then we fell asleep and that missing condom would not leave my thoughts. I remember him saying to me the first time I approached him about it, "If I was doing something like this, I'd throw it in the trash outside." He said it in a joking way, but it stuck to my brain like glue. I really asked myself, could this person I fell in love with really go to this extreme? As I asked myself that and remembered his joke, I took the trash out from that night's takeout, all the way outside to the trash outside. I took a peep before dropping it in and there it was, the condom wrapper. Again, my stomach dropped and this time I could no longer stay quiet. I went back inside. It was almost 3 a.m. and I woke him up and asked him to explain. He had no words. No, sorry. No, yes, it was me. It was a mere, "I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't count the condoms. The trash is in the alleyway. Many people throw trash outside there." And I was so upset and infuriated that he couldn't man up to the truth. I was so upset I wasn't even crying. There was no ounce of remorse or grasp of reality. Even though the rest of the conversation was about taking a break and that what I was saying were serious accusations, it never once slipped out of his mouth to take any accountability. The next day, I picked up my things when he wasn't there and went for my remaining things and plans when he was actually there. He couldn't even look at me, gave me his back and just sulked in whatever he was feeling, and just was in bed looking like the scumbag he is. I found out the girl he cheated on me with was a girl we had a threesome with last summer. She texted me saying she was sorry for so many things. I never did respond to her and I know she's uncomfortable for so many reasons just being around me. As for my ex-boyfriend, he has yet to take any accountability and he definitely is still in touch with me. I'm only staying in touch for the time being that I have a few things he's trying to get back to me, but he expects me to talk things out. I have nothing more to say. I just want my things back. Mind you, reader, we're all co-workers. The whole thing is just so effed up. OP, I don't think there's anything you need to clear up in this situation. Like you say, it is completely effed up. He cheated on you, hid it from you, told you where he was stashing the evidence, you found it, confronted him, he didn't even take responsibility and try to blame shift to other people throwing trash in there. It sucks that you all work together. I absolutely agree with what you want to do. Just get your stuff, get out, and move on past this guy. What do you guys think? Do you think OP should let him talk things out? I don't. Let me know what you think in the comment section about this. And now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Today I Effed Up, and it's from user Queen of Passagress. Today I effed up. I accidentally revealed my boyfriend's mom's infidelity. Obligatory. This story actually happened about a year ago. I, 18 female at the time, was dating a boy named Jacob, 18 male at the time. His father, early 60s, was a mechanic, and his mom, mid-50s, was a stay-at-home mom. They were a pretty typical white suburban family in the South and had asked Jacob if they could meet me even though we had only been dating for a month. At the dinner, I met his mom, dad, older brother, older sister, and her newborn daughter. The dinner went well, and I was chatting about my volunteer work at my college's blood drive, to which his father explains that his doctor told him he was O negative and a universal blood donor. My boyfriend mentions he is also O, but his siblings casually mention they are both AB. I don't think anything of it because my boyfriend had mentioned that his mom was married once before and was widowed. The following conversation went like this. I say, "Oh, that's really cool. You're a really rare blood type. If you don't mind me asking, is your mom's blood type A and your dad's B, or your dad's A and your mom's B?" And the older sister says, "What do you mean? He's O," gesturing to my boyfriend's father. And I respond, "Oh, I know, I was just asking about your bio father, but of course you don't have to answer if you don't want to." I notice his mom gets really pale, and it was in that moment I realized I effed up. The older brother says, "What do you mean bio father?" And I respond, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it." Jacob's dad got real quiet, and looking at his wife's face, he knew instantly. I look over to Jacob, who I think was starting to put the full picture of what was happening together. Jacob's dad says, "Are you saying they're not my biological kids? Because my wife swore up and down in marriage counseling," by marriage counseling they mean with a pastor, "that they were my kids and she would never cheat on me." Yeah, turns out she never had any kids from her previous marriage. Jacob's mom says, "I would never cheat on you. Older sister and older brother are your kids." And Jacob's dad says, "OP, why do you think they're not my kids?" I tried to excuse myself because it was very clear the cat was out of the bag, and with a quick Google search from my boyfriend, he starts cussing out his mom. She starts apologizing over and over again, and I am forced to explain 9th grade biology to his father about the fact that the only kids he could have produced were only the blood type O, A, or B, but absolutely not AB. Jacob was the only one with the possibility of being his son. They all start screaming at one another. Older sister eventually leaves because her newborn is screaming too. His mom goes and locks herself in the bedroom. His older brother follows her screaming, asking who his real father is. My boyfriend is trying to figure out if his dad still wants to be their father. I eventually have a friend come pick me up. Yeah, we broke up shortly after that, but not after figuring out that none of the kids produced from the marriage were his. Edit. They found out via paternity tests for sure weren't his kids, and they divorced soon after. OP's edits. For those asking how they knew their blood types, Jacob donated blood for the blood drive at our school. His sister had just had a baby, so she was probably informed during pregnancy. Jacob's dad was told by his doctor for probably underlying medical reasons. I don't know. I wasn't ever really close to his family after that for obvious reasons, and I don't know how his brother knew. Edit PSA. Reading through the comments, I have discovered many of you don't know your blood type. Go find out your blood type. It can save your life in an emergency. If you are parents, find out your children's blood type. If you discover you are not biologically related to one or either of your parents, I am very sorry, but you should still know your blood type, and I would suggest some therapy. Wow. Just wow. That escalated so quickly, and just a pretty innocuous conversation about blood type ended outing a cheater and ending a marriage. That's wow. Like I said in the beginning, wow. And also, OP is absolutely right in her edit PSA. Find out your blood type. It is incredibly important that you know in case of any emergency. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I certainly did reading them to you. So if you did, then go ahead and give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and become a member of our Discord community that just keeps growing, and it is fantastic. And like I said in the beginning of the video, all of the relevant links are in the video description below, so be sure to check them out. And finally, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys enjoy this content, so thank you once again. And having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.